Hi guys, I just wanted to finally give you my review of 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers in Benghazi. This was a film by Michael Bay. I saw the sneak preview of it on Tuesday. I wanted to wait until Friday to put up the review because I didn't want to hit by any copyright infringements on YouTube, and I just wanted to say this was definitely one of Michael Bay's best movies in years. I mean, I was optimistic about it. I went into it thinking that, true story about soldiers was, I mean, watching the Transformers movies and knowing how jingoistic they were, that this was something in Michael Bay's wheelhouse. And I'm sure I know people were skeptical because he's tried to do quote unquote biopics before with Pearl Harbor and Pain and Gain. I haven't seen either one of those movies, but I heard they were pretty bad just because the former focused on some love story and a little to do with the actual attack, and the latter was almost, people said that it was too soon. It almost like made the people, like, it was about, Pain and Gain was about criminals and made them seem like too sympathetic, even though they were victims of the families who were still reeling from the, I mean, they were killers, and people were still reeling, and the victims of those guys were still reeling from the events. This one paid more respect to the soldiers who were, I guess, they were former Navy SEALs who were also enlisted as contractors for the CIA, um, and based out of a CIA annex in Benghazi, Libya, to safeguard the U.S. ambassador J. Chris, J. Christopher Stevens, assassin who was actually killed during the attacks on September 11th, 2012, and the movie focuses on the attempts of the soldiers to try to save as many American lives as possible during the night of those attacks. And I still think it was like a very good movie. I mean, it still has like some of the typical Michael Bay tropes, like the oversaturation of colors, and there's still some shaky cam, but I still feel like those are things that if it was any other director, they probably would have done it anyway. Like the whole shaky cam thing. It was very gritty. It was, I mean, there was like a lot of explosions, but it was explosion. There wasn't like gratuitous amounts. It was very much. I feel like it was just very much like it. I mean, they were fighting like the whole area essentially became a war zone. So the whole like frenetic style known for Michael Bay movies actually lended itself to the chaotic nature of the fact that these guys are under constant attack from these like these like these Libyan insurgents there, and trying to fight for their lives, trying to protect American lives at the bases, and constantly being on guard as somebody just and pretty much having their backs against the wall in the whole like Black Hawk Down situation. They couldn't call for backup in time, or they call for backup in time, or and we were in a situation which one of the soldiers referred to as 2012 Alamo bullshit in his words. And the humor in it was it wasn't like the crass humor you would find in other Michael Bay movies. It was just basically, the typical banter back and forth between the soldiers that you like. It's the kind of like ball busting you would expect like a group of guy friends to typically do. And yeah, there were moments where, there it was a little bit it was a little bit. They try to like flesh the character. I mean, they're trying to flesh the characters out in the same way like other like movies about soldiers where like they have like wives and kids back home. I mean, you didn't get as much. I mean, it didn't like they weren't as in depth as you would like them to have been. But at least you got great performances from James Badgedale, who was, if anybody who was a 24 fan, he was Chase Edmonds in season 3, and he was also been in a few other movies, including World War Z. And of course, John Krasinski, him and James Badgedale gave some of the best performances, especially the latter. Well, I said John Krasinski, like, he got some real raw emotion. He really got lost, immersed himself in this role, like growing the beard, getting jacked up, and being a guy who was being a guy who was like troubled about the fact that he felt, they felt like he can never like get, walk away from this line of line of work, and he laments that with James Badge Dale. James Badge Dale, like, how come we can never quit? How come we keep coming back to this life? And just says warriors never quit. I mean, they make commitments to their country, and they talk about, wanting to get back to their families and whatnot, and he gave like a really powerful performance. And also like there's also like another actor named Toby Stevens who he plays like another soldier who's featured like a secondary character, or another soldier he's featured out later in the film. He played he played the title character in The Great Gatsby. During one of the it's like a TV movie adaptation. He also played the main villain from Die Another Day, but it's like he definitely had like the American American kind of like Southern accent, beard shape, military haircut. Also kind of immersed himself in the role. Like you wouldn't think like the same guy was playing. You wouldn't think like he's a British actor. You wouldn't think he really pulled off immersing himself in the role. And also, I mean, there's not much more to say about it. I mean, there's some really good performances from these guys. I will say probably the biggest drawback for me was the length. It's 2 hours and 30 minutes long. But and I understand, Michael Bay. It's like based on a true story. I mean, the soldiers were happy. Were on set, making sure that it was accurate, and they were happy with the film. And Michael Bay didn't want to leave any stone unturned and not like want to gloss over any details. But it still felt like towards the end that he did kind of get a little bit self-indulgent, and some of the Michael Bayism started to like slip through the cracks, and with the slow motion and becoming a little bit too cinematic, and feeling like having a bit of a video game vibe. And but he also did a good job of like not trying, making it about the soldiers, and not trying to focus on any kind of politics, which is going to either be good for some people going into this movie or bad for some people going into this movie. And I also liked how he built, like some of the pacing of it. It wasn't just some like straight up action flick. They actually had spent some time with the soldiers, and the banter and the interactions, and the kind of like, and I guess sort of like different missions where they weren't having to like fight for their lives and in combat while they were on assignment in Libya. And it's so all in all, I would probably give this movie, just give this movie like a 4 out of 5. It's definitely one of Michael Bay's best movies in years. I hope he continues doing more stuff like this. I mean, it'll be great if he can do this kind of put this kind of effort into this movie that it would be great if he can put this kind of effort into the Transformers movies that he put into this movie. That would be great. I'm not holding my breath for that, but either way, I recommend you guys go check this out. It's a fantastic movie from him in the month of January. If you have seen it, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I just also want to let you know that I'm going to be doing a couple more reaction videos. Also focusing on Legends of Tomorrow. Like they have like the character trailers up. So I'm going to be doing that later this weekend. I saw some other clips from Batman. A clip from Batman v Superman as well. And I'll also try to do Dirty Grandpa if I can go out for Creed. I'm planning to go out and see that if I haven't watched the first Rocky yet. So I'm just going to go and see that first. So if you let me know what you thought of the movie in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.